I'll put you around instead. My brother.
Wearing a badge means walking into danger at any moment, often with no warning. For most of us, a tough day at work means stress or frustration. But for police officers, it can mean the difference between life and death. The following stories reveal just how fast routine calls can turn into tragedy, reminding us that every shift could be their last.
The guy who shot and killed Officer N being taken down by a neighbor, as police say he was trying to kill his 8-year-old son by strangling him. This tense scene highlighting the life or death situation playing out outside that Stockton home.
On May 11, 2021, police in Stockton, California, received a desperate 911 call about a violent domestic disturbance. The caller reported loud screams and windows shaking from inside a home. Responding to the call was Officer Jimmy N., a 30-year-old father of 3 who had served with the Stockton Police Department for 4 years. At 10:07 a.m., N pulled up in front of the house, unaware of the deadly danger waiting behind the door. As he approached the entryway, he knocked, announcing himself as police. The door opened just slightly, but before he could react, gunfire erupted. Jimmy N was shot multiple times in a matter of seconds.
Please.
Hey, police.
Hello.
His partner, Officer Pancho Freer, arrived moments later and was met with the shocking sight of N on the ground. Freer immediately returned fire, shouting into his radio for urgent backup. His voice broke as he tried to keep his partner alive, pleading for Jimmy to hold on while still keeping his weapon trained on the house.
58 shots fired, shots fired. Partner's down. Jimmy, you all right? 58 shots fired, my partner is down. Code 3 now.
Then the situation grew even more horrifying. The suspect, identified as 30-year-old Lance Lowe, emerged from the doorway holding his 8-year-old son. Using the terrified boy as a human shield, he stepped onto the front lawn. Officers shouted for him to put the child down, trying desperately to de-escalate, but Lowe ignored every command.
58, I need units code 3. He's strangling the kid and my partner is down. Let the kid go! Let him go! Let him go! Let go of the kid!
The standoff reached its breaking point when a neighbor, witnessing the horror unfold, made a split-second decision. Risking his own life, the man sprinted across the lawn, tackled Lowe from behind, and ripped the boy free from his arms. The child stumbled into the arms of officers, crying but unharmed. With the boy safe, police opened fire. Lowe was fatally shot on the lawn, ending the immediate danger but leaving irreversible devastation in his wake.
Hey, Fern, we're on the corner. Hey, watch!
Despite every effort, Officer Jimmy N succumbed to his wounds. He died at the scene, never making it back to his wife, who was also a police officer, and their 3 children. His youngest was just a baby who would grow up never knowing the father who gave his life protecting others.
Stockton PD says that Officer N and the suspect both taken to the hospital where they both later died from their injuries. Tonight we have learned that Officer N leaves behind a wife and 3 children, including a 7-month-old son. His wife, also a Stockton police officer.
The community of Stockton was shattered. A memorial outside the department grew with flowers, flags, and handwritten notes, while fellow officers stood in silent salute. At his funeral, Jimmy N was remembered as a dedicated officer, a loving husband, and a doting father whose courage cost him everything. For the little boy caught in the middle, the trauma of watching his father die that day is something he will carry forever. And for Officer N's family, the tragedy is a reminder of the unimaginable risks that come with answering a single call for help. Case number 2.
You heard, right? Duran is dead. Robert Duran is dead. My brother.
On March 2, 2022, in Billings, Montana, a passerby frantically called 911 after spotting a woman in a moving vehicle screaming for help. She cried out that she was being held against her will by a man armed with a knife. The caller described the car and direction of travel, and within minutes, police began a high-speed pursuit.
We're going back eastbound on St. Mike's, passing Pacheco. We're being in and out of traffic. 254, you go ahead, I got calls. Let's just make sure that the third officer goes and gets 49, please. Meanwhile, you guys stay on it, please. Santa Fe notify the SO and SP, please.
Officers believed they were racing against time to save a hostage. The vehicle weaved recklessly through traffic, swerving into oncoming lanes and forcing other drivers off the road. Despite the extreme danger, officers pressed forward, convinced that a victim's life was at stake.
Over I-25, chain over I-25, and just be flipping around now, and we're going to be oncoming traffic. He's going to be on to oncoming traffic going over I-25. Now he's headed on to I-25, wrong direction, and he's going to be headed on to the French Road.
The pursuit ended in tragedy. As police tried to intercept the suspect's car near Santa Fe, Officer Robert Duran's patrol vehicle collided head-on with another car. The crash was devastating. Both Officer Duran and the innocent driver of the other vehicle were killed instantly. At the scene, the supposed victim stepped out of her car. She told officers her captor had fled on foot, identifying him as her boyfriend and insisting he was armed with a gun. A manhunt was immediately launched, with tactical teams sweeping the area. But something didn't add up. Despite her claims, no suspect was ever found.
Get in the car, get in the car. Let me see, I need to check you. I need to check you for weapons.
Okay.
Where's he at? Who is it?
His name is Mark. He's my boyfriend.
Does he have any weapons?
Yes, he does.
What does he have?
He has a gun.
Where's he at?
He went running.
He ran?
Yes, he did.
Investigators quickly uncovered the shocking truth. There had never been a kidnapping. The woman, 49-year-old Janine Harmo, had fabricated the entire story. The vehicle was stolen, and she had a history of making nearly identical false claims in past encounters with police, often leading to reckless chases. Prosecutors later revealed this was not a desperate escape, but a deliberate deception, one that had now cost 2 innocent lives.
That's up. Some water, brother? Brother.
In July 2024, after a lengthy trial, a Santa Fe County jury convicted Harmo of 2 counts of first-degree murder. The district attorney argued that her lies weaponized police officers' duty to protect, manipulating them into a deadly pursuit. The court agreed, handing down 2 life sentences plus an additional 43 years for related charges.
Find the defendant guilty of murder in the first degree as charged in count 2.
I'd like to say I'm sorry to the family with all my heart. If I could take back that day, I would. I made bad choices. I was on drugs and I was drinking, but I also have my family that I'm hurting. Putting me away many years is not going to bring them back. But I would never, ever plan on hurting anybody. Much less killing anybody. God knows what's in my heart.
For the Santa Fe Police Department, the loss of Officer Robert Duran was almost unthinkable. He became the first officer killed in the line of duty in over 90 years. The other victim, an ordinary driver on his way home, was remembered by family as a kind and hard-working man whose life was stolen in an instant. At sentencing, the district attorney called the verdict the end of a 2.5-year nightmare. But for the families of the victims, no amount of justice could undo the devastation caused by a lie that spiraled into tragedy. Before we dive into the next encounter, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss any of these real police stories. Case 3.
Brannon grabs a rifle, and during the deadly gunfight, Brannon is hit once in the stomach. Deputy Kyle Dinkheller, a husband and father, is struck 9 times and dies.
On January 12, 1998, Lawrence County Sheriff's Deputy Kyle Dinkheller pulled over 49-year-old Andrew Brannon, an ex-U.S. Army Vietnam veteran, for speeding on the interstate.
Driver, step back here to me. Come on back here for me.
Almost immediately, the traffic stop began to spiral out of control. The deputy asked Brannon to step out of his car and keep his hands out of his pockets, but Brannon quickly became aggressive. He yelled, cursed, and repeatedly refused to comply with simple commands. The situation escalated further when Brannon shoved Deputy Dinkheller in the chest and walked back to his vehicle, ignoring repeated orders to stop.
Sir, get back. What are you calling? Sir, get back! Now! Get back! Get back! Sir, get back now! No! Get back! Fuck you! Sir, get back! No! I'm telling you now! Get back, sir! Sir, get back! Sir, I am a goddamn Vietnam combat veteran, step back! And I am not. Sir, fuck you! Sir, step back now! Get back! Get back! Get back now! 1078, radio 1018. Sir, step back now!
Despite Brannon's increasingly threatening behavior, Deputy Dinkheller chose restraint and did not use force. That decision would prove fatal. Brannon retrieved a rifle from his car, pointed it at the deputy, and opened fire.
Drop the gun now!
Armed only with his service pistol, Deputy Dinkheller had little chance against a trained Vietnam veteran with combat experience. He tried to return fire, but Brannon shot him multiple times before delivering the final fatal headshot.
Shit! Stop now!
By the time backup arrived, Deputy Dinkheller was already dead. His fellow officers, recognizing their fallen colleague as they rushed to the scene, were left in shock and devastation.
God! No, Kyle! No! Kyle! Kyle, no! Fuck! No! No! No!
They want to talk to you.
No! God damn it! Get him up here, 1018! He bet he's down, he's bad! Get him up here! Get him up here! No, Kyle, no! No!
A massive manhunt was launched, and Brannon was captured the following day after a brief gunfight. He was charged with the malice murder of a peace officer. At trial, His defense argued insanity caused by PTSD from the Vietnam War, but the jury rejected the claim. Brannon was sentenced to death and, after years of appeals, was executed by lethal injection on January 13, 2015, 17 years after the murder. Number 4.
42-year-old Sergeant Eric Mueller was gunned down within minutes during a call in a small town near Ottawa last week. And as Jason Gaidola tells us, his death marks the 10th time an on-duty officer was killed across Canada in just the last 8 months.
On May 11, 2023, at around 2 a.m., dispatchers in Bourget, Ontario, received a frantic call from a woman. She reported loud music, screaming, and what she thought was a gunshot coming from her neighbor's home. The neighbor was 39-year-old Alan, a drywall contractor with no criminal record, no history of violence, and a licensed gun owner. Police had never been called to his home before, and he was not considered a threat. At that moment, it was treated as a routine wellness check.
Hey, je veux que tu rentres ici. Y a-tu des enfants ou quelque chose?
Non.
Tout seul?
Seul. Fait que la fois que j'ai vu tantôt, puis la lumière était pas allumée.
3 Ontario provincial police officers, Sergeant Eric Miller, Constable Mark Lawson, and Constable Francois Gamache, arrived at the quiet neighborhood just before dawn. They parked outside, moving cautiously with flashlights. At first, the home seemed still, the back door locked, no sounds from within. They circled the property, checking for signs of distress. To them, it looked like a standard call that would likely end with calming down a dispute.
I just cover the front door. Just gonna do a perimeter check first.
But inside, Alan had been asleep. He was startled awake by noises around his house and, in confusion, thought someone was trying to break in. Without announcing himself, he grabbed a semi-automatic rifle he kept by his bed. Moments later, as the officers regrouped near the front door, Alan raised the weapon and unleashed 9 shots through his bedroom wall. The gunfire tore into the officers before they even had time to react. Sergeant Mueller was struck multiple times and dropped instantly in the mudroom, his weapon still holstered. Constable Lawson was hit, but his ballistic vest stopped the bullet. Constable Gamache, caught in the open, scrambled for cover but was also struck by a round. The gunfight was over in seconds, leaving the officers wounded and Mueller gravely injured on the floor.
Motherfucker, man. C'est ça que j'ai à dire. Fuck with the motherfucker. Should have never broken my house. Sorry about that.
Realizing he had shot police, Alan called 911 in a panicked voice, insisting intruders had broken into his home. But prosecutors would later argue that his actions went far beyond confusion, calling it a deliberate and deadly ambush. Paramedics rushed the officers to hospital. Constable Gamache survived his injuries, and Constable Lawson was treated for bruising from the impact to his vest. Tragically, Sergeant Eric Mueller did not make it. His death devastated his family, colleagues, and the entire Ontario provincial police community. Alan was arrested at the scene and charged with first-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. His trial gripped Canada, raising questions about gun ownership, mental health, and police safety. On May 24, 2025, the jury delivered its verdict, guilty on all charges. Alan was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole for 25 years. For the officers who survived, that night remains seared into memory. The eerie silence before the gunfire, the chaos of trying to save Mueller, and the crushing realization that their sergeant would never go home again. Sergeant Eric Mueller's final act was simply doing what he had done for decades, answering a call for help. These stories remind us how quickly life can change in the line of duty. What do you think about the risks officers face every day? Share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share this video with others who should hear these stories.